Hey, welcome back to English Profiles Podcast. I'm really glad you're here today, because today we are going to talk about something that most people get completely wrong.
Completely wrong.
Every January, millions of people sit down, they take a notebook, they write their goals. This year, I will lose weight. This year, I will save money. This year, I will learn English.
I've done that many times.
We all have. And then what happens?
Nothing. Nothing changes.
Nothing changes. Same life, same habits, same problems. A year later, you open that notebook again, and the same goals are still there, waiting.
That feeling is awful.
It is awful. And most people think, I am just not disciplined enough. I don't want it enough. Something is wrong with me.
I've told myself that.
But here is the truth. The problem is not you. The problem is not your goals either. The problem is you don't have the right system behind your goals.
System. That word again.
That word again. But today, we go deeper. Today, we talk about why systems work, why goals alone don't, and what you need to do differently.
Okay, I'm ready.
Good, because first, I need to tell you something about your brain, something that will change how you see everything.
Go ahead.
Your brain has a filter, a real physical filter. Scientists call it the reticular activating system.
That's a big name.
Very big. So let's just call it the RAS.
The RAS. Okay.
The RAS decides what your brain pays attention to and what it ignores. Every second, millions of pieces of information are coming into your brain. Sounds, images, words, feelings.
That's a lot.
Way too much. So the RAS filters most of it out. It says, this is important. Pay attention to this. And everything else disappears.
So my brain is choosing what I see?
Exactly. And here is where it gets interesting. Have you ever decided to buy a car, a specific car? Let's say a red Toyota.
Okay. Red Toyota.
And then suddenly, what do you see everywhere?
Red Toyotas.
Red Toyotas everywhere. On every street, every parking lot, every traffic light.
But they were always there.
They were always there. You just didn't see them because your brain wasn't looking for them. But the moment you decided, I want a red Toyota, your RAS said, okay, this is important now. Show me red Toyotas.
So the brain finds what it is looking for.
Always. The brain finds what it is looking for. Good or bad.
Okay. And how does this connect to goals?
This is the key part. A study from Dominican University in America showed something powerful. People who write their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them than people who don't write them.
42%? Just from writing?
Just from writing. Because when you write a goal, you are telling your RAS, this is important. Pay attention to this. Find opportunities for this.
And the brain starts looking for it.
Automatically, without you even trying. You start noticing things you never noticed before. People, books, ideas, conversations, all pointing toward your goal.
That's actually amazing.
So writing is important.
Writing is very important. But, and this is critical, writing alone is not enough.
Why not?
Because most people write their goals, and then they put the notebook in a drawer and never look at it again.
Guilty.
We are all guilty. The RAS needs to be reminded every day. It needs to see the goal again and again to keep looking for it.
So you have to read your goals every day.
Every day. Morning is best. Before your phone, before the noise of the day starts. Just read your goals. Look at them. Feel them.
Feel them.
Yes, this is important. When you read your goal, don't just look at the words. Imagine it. See it. Feel what it would feel like if it was already real.
Because the brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined.
Exactly. We talked about this before. The brain responds to what you show it. If you show it your goal every morning with feeling, it starts to believe it. And what the brain believes, it starts to build.
So the brain is not my enemy. It's my builder, if I use it correctly.
If you use it correctly, your brain is the most powerful tool you will ever have, but most people never learn how to use it.
They just let it run on automatic.
On automatic, watching what everyone else watches, thinking what everyone else thinks, going where everyone else goes.
And wondering why nothing changes.
And wondering why nothing changes.
Okay, so step 1, write the goal. Step 2, read it every day, with feeling.
That's the start, but there's more, much more, because here is the dangerous part.
Dangerous?
Research also shows people who only visualize their goals, who only dream about them, imagine the perfect outcome, they are actually less likely to achieve the goal.
Wait, what?
Less likely, because the brain gets the dopamine, the good feeling, just from imagining, and then it doesn't need to actually do anything. The reward already came.
So dreaming too much is dangerous.
Dreaming without action is dangerous. You need both, the vision and the system, the goal and the plan, the dream and the daily steps.
So just writing goals is not enough. And just dreaming is not enough. What is enough?
That's what we're going to explore today. And it starts with something most people are afraid to do.
What?
Burning the boats.
Burning the boats?
Stay with us. You'll understand very soon.
Vocabulary time. First, filter. A filter removes some things and keeps others. Your brain has a filter called the RAS. It decides what you notice and what you ignore.
Next, achieve. Achieve means to successfully reach a goal, to do something you worked for. People who write their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them.
Next, automatic. Automatic means something happens by itself, without deciding, without thinking. Most people live on automatic. They don't choose their thoughts choose them.
And visualize. Visualize means to see something clearly in your mind, to imagine it in detail. Visualize your goal every morning. See it, feel it, make it real in your mind.
Your challenge for this section. Tonight or tomorrow morning, write down one goal. Not 5, not 10, just one. The most important one. Write it in present tense, not I want to, but I am or I have. For example, I am someone who speaks English confidently. I have the body and health I worked for. Then read it tomorrow morning, before your phone, before anything else. That's it. That's step 1.
Small but powerful. We'll be back with section 2, and we're going to talk about burning the boats. Don't go anywhere.
See you soon.
(1519). A Spanish explorer named Hernán Cortés arrived in Mexico. He had 600 soldiers. They came by ship, and they had one mission: to conquer the Aztec Empire, the most powerful empire in the world at that time.
That sounds impossible.
It was almost impossible. The Aztec Empire had millions of people. Cortés had 600. His soldiers were scared. Many of them wanted to go back to Spain, back to safety, back to the life they knew.
That makes sense. Why risk everything?
Exactly. And Cortés knew this. He knew that if his soldiers had a way to go back, they would go back. The moment things got hard, the moment they felt fear, they would run. So Cortés made a decision that changed history.
What did he do?
He burned the boats.
He burned his own ships?
Every single one. He looked at his soldiers and said, "There is no going back. We win or we die here. Those are the only 2 options."
That's terrifying.
It is terrifying, but something happened after that. Something interesting.
What?
The soldiers stopped being scared, not because they were brave, but because fear had nowhere to go. There was no plan B. There was no exit. There was only forward. And they conquered the Aztec Empire.
Because they had no other choice.
Because they had no other choice. And now I want to ask you something. In your life, how many boats do you still have?
What do you mean?
How many exit doors? How many plan Bs? How many times have you said, "I'll try this, and if it doesn't work, I'll go back to how things were"?
A lot.
Most people have a lot of boats, and that's exactly why most people never really change. Because when things get hard, and things always get hard, they see the boat, and they get on it, and they sail back to their comfortable life.
The comfortable but unhappy life.
The comfortable but unhappy life. Here is something important to understand. Your brain is always looking for the easiest path. Always. It wants comfort. It wants safety. It wants the known. And if you give it an exit, it will take it. Every single time.
So what do? We can't literally burn our boats.
No, please don't. But you can burn them metaphorically. Metaphorically means not in real life, but in your mind, in your decisions. For example, if you want to start a business, tell people, tell your family, tell your friends. Now it's real. Now there is social pressure. Now you can't easily go back.
That's terrifying too.
Yes, good. Terrifying means it's working.
Okay, what else?
Set a deadline, a real one. Not someday I will do this, but by the 1st of next month, this will be done. Write it down. Tell someone. Now the boat is burning.
Because now there's a consequence if you don't do it.
Exactly. Elon Musk once said, if you give yourself 30 days to clean your house, it will take 30 days. If you give yourself 3 hours, it will take 3 hours.
That is so true. Work expands to fill the time you give it.
Always. So give it less time. Create urgency, create pressure, burn the boat.
But what about failure? What if you burn the boat and then you fail?
Good question. And this is important. Burning the boat doesn't mean you will never fail. You will fail multiple times. That's guaranteed.
So, what's the point?
The point is, when you have no boat, failure is not the end. It's just information. Okay, that didn't work. What do I try next? But when you have a boat, failure becomes an excuse. See, I tried, it didn't work. I'll go back now.
The boat gives failure a different meaning.
The boat turns failure into permission to quit. Without the boat, you have to find another way. You have to get creative. You have to keep going.
I think about all the things I started and then stopped.
Most people have a long list of those things, not because they weren't capable, but because they kept their boats close.
So, burning the boat is really about making a true commitment.
A true commitment. Not, I'll try. Not, I'll see how it goes. But this is happening, no matter what. I am all in.
That's scary.
It should be, because it's real, because it means something, because you are putting your whole self on the line.
And that's exactly why most people don't do it.
Exactly. Most people want the result without the risk, the success without the commitment, the destination without burning the boat.
But it doesn't work that way.
It never works that way.
Okay, I want to burn a boat. One boat. Where do I start?
Start with one decision, one thing you have been putting off, one goal you keep almost starting, and make it real today. Write it down. Tell one person. Set a deadline. Burn that boat.
Just one.
Just one. That's enough to start. Because after that first boat burns, something changes inside you. You realize, I can do this. I did it once, I can do it again.
And the next boat gets a little easier to burn.
And the next one, and the next.
Vocabulary. First, conquer. Conquer means to win over something very difficult, to defeat it completely. Cortez conquered the Aztec Empire. You can conquer your fears too, one decision at a time.
Next, commitment. Commitment means a serious promise to yourself or others. You are all in, no going back. Burning the boat is a commitment, a real one, not just words.
Next, urgency. Urgency means something needs to happen soon. There is no time to wait. Create urgency for your goals. Set a deadline. Make it real.
And metaphorically. Metaphorically means not literally, not in real life, but as an idea, as a symbol. Burn your boats metaphorically. Make a commitment so strong there is no going back.
Your challenge. Think of one thing you have been almost starting, almost committing to, almost doing. Today, write it down. Set a real deadline and tell one person. That's your boat burning. That's where it begins.
See you in Section 3. We're going to talk about something most people misunderstand: motivation.
Stay with us.
Can I be honest about something?
Always.
Sometimes I wake up and I just don't feel it. No energy, no drive, no motivation. And I think, okay, today's not the day. I'll start tomorrow.
And tomorrow?
Sometimes tomorrow feels the same way.
I know that feeling. And I used to think the same thing. I'll start when I feel ready, when I feel motivated, when I feel inspired.
And
And I waited a long time. Because here is what nobody tells you. Motivation is not a feeling that arrives before you start. Motivation is a feeling that arrives after you start.
After?
After. Think about the last time you didn't want to do something. Maybe exercise, maybe study, maybe a difficult task at work. You really didn't want to do it.
That happens all the time.
But then you started anyway. And after 5 minutes, what happened?
Usually I get into it. I actually start to enjoy it.
Because the motivation came after the action, not before. This is one of the most important things to understand. Action creates motivation, not the other way around.
Action creates motivation.
Always. And there is a deeper reason for this, a scientific reason. Your brain does not want to start new things. It wants to repeat what it already knows. We talked about this, the forest and the paths. New paths require new paths in the forest, and new paths are hard.
So the brain resists.
The brain resists every time. The resistance you feel before starting something, that is your brain saying, "This is new. This is unknown. I don't like this." But the moment you push through, the moment you take one step, the resistance drops and motivation appears.
So motivation is not something I find, it's something I create.
You create it by starting, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it.
That changes everything.
It changes everything. Now, there is a man I want to tell you about. His name is Noah Lyles, Olympic champion, world record holder, the fastest man on the planet.
Sounds like someone who wakes up motivated every day.
He has ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. His brain makes it very hard to focus, very hard to stay on task, very hard to feel motivated on demand.
So how does he do it?
He doesn't rely on motivation. He relies on routine. Every single day, he goes to the same track, at the same time. He puts on the same music. He does the same warm-up exercises, in the same order, every single day.
That sounds very boring.
It sounds boring, but here's what happens. After doing this for months, years, his brain connects the routine to the performance. The moment he steps on the track, his brain says, "Oh, we know this. We have done this 1,000 times. Let's go."
The routine becomes the trigger.
The routine becomes the trigger. He doesn't wait to feel ready. He just starts the routine, and the brain does the rest.
So the routine is the boat burning.
Exactly. The routine removes the decision. You don't ask yourself, "Do I feel like doing this today?" You just do it, because that's what you do, every day.
Most people wake up and think, do I feel like going to the gym today? Do I feel like studying today? Do I feel like working today?
And the answer, most days, is no.
So they don't go.
So they don't go. But the person with a routine doesn't ask the question. They just start moving, and the feeling comes after. There's a beautiful saying, motivation does not create repetition. Repetition creates motivation.
Motivation does not create repetition. Repetition creates motivation.
Say it again.
Repetition creates motivation.
That's the whole lesson in 4 words.
So, how do we build our own routine, our own trigger?
3 things: simple, specific, same.
Simple, specific, same.
Simple. The routine must be easy to start, not a big, complicated plan. Just sit at this desk, open this notebook, put on this music.
Specific. A specific place, specific time, specific action.
Exactly. Not, I will study sometime, but at 8 a.m., at this table, with this coffee, I will open my English notes.
And same. Do it the same way, every day.
Every day. Because the brain learns through repetition. The more you do it the same way, the more automatic it becomes. And automatic means no decision needed, no motivation needed. Just start.
Just start. The simplest and hardest thing.
The simplest and hardest thing. But every day you do it, it gets a little easier. The path gets a little clearer. The highway gets a little wider.
Until one day, it just feels like you.
Until one day, it just feels like you. And that's when everything changes. Not from motivation, from identity.
Vocabulary. First, motivation. Motivation is the feeling that makes you want to do something. Don't wait for motivation. Create it by starting. Action comes first.
Next, routine. A routine is a set of actions you do regularly, in the same order, at the same time. My morning routine helps me start without thinking. I just follow the steps.
Next, trigger. A trigger is something that starts a reaction, a signal that tells your brain it's time. The smell of coffee is my trigger. When I smell it, I know it's time to study.
And resistance. Resistance is the feeling that pushes back when you try to do something new. The voice that says, "Not today." Feel the resistance and start anyway. That's where the growth is.
Your challenge, design your routine. Just one. Pick one thing you want to do every day. Now answer 3 questions. When will I do it? Where will I do it? What will I do first? The very first small action to begin. Write it down tonight, and tomorrow just follow the steps. Don't think, don't decide, just start.
Repetition creates motivation. Remember that. Section 4 is coming. The 90-day rule. Don't go anywhere.
I want you to imagine something, just for a moment.
Okay.
Imagine a cold winter morning. You go to your car, you turn the key. The engine struggles. It makes a terrible sound. It doesn't want to start.
I know that sound.
Everyone knows that sound. Why does it happen?
Because the engine is cold. The oil is thick. Everything is frozen.
Exactly. The engine needs time to warm up, to loosen up, to find its rhythm. But once it warms up,
It runs perfectly.
it runs perfectly. And starting it again later is easy. The engine is ready. The system is warm. Everything flows. Now, wealth works the same way. Success works the same way. Change works the same way.
You start cold.
You always start cold, stiff, uncomfortable, slow. And most people feel that coldness and they think, this isn't working. This isn't for me. I'm not good at this.
And they stop.
They stop before the engine warms up. Long pause.
They stop too early.
Always too early. This is why we need the 90-day rule.
90 days. Why 90?
Because research shows building a real habit, a new identity, takes somewhere between 15 and 250 days. The average is around 90.
That's a long time.
It feels long at the start, but think about it differently. 90 days is 3 months, just 3 months. And in 3 months, if you stay consistent, you are a different person.
A different person.
Not completely different, but different enough to feel it, to see it, to believe it. And here is the key to 90 days. The key is not to work harder. The key is to disappear.
Disappear.
Disappear. For 90 days, you go quiet. You go focused. You stop announcing your plans. You stop talking about what you're going to do. You just do it silently.
Why silently?
Because when you tell people your plans, your brain gets the reward early. Someone says, "Wow, that's amazing. You're going to do that?" And your brain says, "Great, we already feel successful. We can relax now."
And then you don't do it.
And then you don't do it. Steve Jobs understood this. He said, "We never talk about the products we are building. We work in secret, and then we show the world."
Build first, show later.
Build first, show later. During these 90 days, 3 things matter.
What are they?
First, protect your attention. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Not your time, your attention. You can have time but no attention, and nothing gets done. So during these 90 days, remove what takes your attention away from your goal.
Like endless scrolling.
Like endless scrolling. Like negative people. Like distractions that feel small but add up to hours. Think of your brain like a car engine. Every time you switch gears, every time you jump from one thing to another, the engine works harder. It burns more energy. It slows down.
So staying focused saves energy.
Staying focused saves enormous energy, and that energy goes directly into your goal.
And the second thing?
Second, clean your environment. Remove everything that represents your old self, the old habits, the old patterns, the things that pull you back to who you were. This is not easy. Sometimes it means seeing fewer people, saying no to invitations, spending more time alone.
That sounds lonely.
It can feel lonely at the start, but here is what happens. When you are alone with your work, with your goal, with your focus, you start to find a new version of yourself.
Because you weren't quiet enough before to meet them.
Because you weren't quiet enough before to meet them. That's beautifully said.
And the third thing?
Third, track your progress every day, even just a small note. Day 1, done. Day 7, hard but done. Day 30, starting to feel different.
Why does tracking matter?
Because on day 45, when you feel like quitting, you look at that list and you see 45 days. 45 days of showing up. And that list says to you, don't you dare quit now. Look how far you've come.
The list becomes your motivation.
The list becomes your evidence. Evidence that you are already becoming that person. Evidence that the engine is warming up. And quitting means letting the engine go cold again.
And starting cold again is the hardest part.
Always the hardest part. So don't let it go cold. Keep going, even on the bad days, even when you don't feel it, even when progress feels invisible.
Because something is always happening, even when we can't see it.
Always. The roots grow underground before the tree grows up. You don't see the roots, but they are there, working, growing, preparing.
Trust the process.
Trust the process for 90 days. And on day 91, you will not recognize yourself in the best possible way.
In the best possible way.
Vocabulary. First, consistent. Consistent means doing something regularly, without stopping, without big gaps. Be consistent for 90 days. Not perfect, consistent.
Next, distraction. A distraction is something that pulls your attention away from what matters. Scrolling is a distraction. Negative conversations are distractions. Protect your attention.
Next, evidence. Evidence is proof, something that shows something is true. Track your progress. Every day you show up is evidence that you are changing.
And process. A process is a series of steps that leads to a result. It takes time. Trust the process. The results are coming, even when you can't see them yet.
Your challenge. Write this at the top of a page. Day 1. Today is day 1 of your 90 days. Pick one thing you will do every day for 90 days, just one, and track it every single day. Don't miss, don't announce it, just build.
Silently, powerfully. See you in section 5.
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
Have you ever met someone who just doesn't get affected by other people? Someone says something mean to them and it just doesn't stick. Someone criticizes them and they just smile. Keep going, keep moving, like nothing happened.
Yes, and I used to think those people were cold or didn't care about anything.
Me too.
But that's not it at all. Those people are not cold. They are clear. Clear about who they are. Clear about what they want. Clear about what matters. And that clarity protects them.
Clarity protects them.
Because when you know exactly who you are, no one can tell you who you are.
That's powerful.
It's everything. And today, I want to share something that helped me understand this. It comes from a man named Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists who ever lived.
Jung, I've heard that name.
Jung spent his life studying the human mind, and he made a discovery that most people never hear about. He called it the mirror principle.
The mirror principle? What is that?
Jung said, the things that bother you most in other people are actually reflections of something inside yourself.
Wait, so when someone really annoys me,
it's telling you something about you, not about them.
That's uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable, but very important. For example, you meet someone who was arrogant. They think they're better than everyone. It makes your blood boil. You can't stand them.
I know people like that.
Jung would ask, is there any part of you that wants to feel important, that wants to be seen, that wants to matter, but you push that feeling down? You tell yourself, no, I don't need that.
And then you see it in someone else and it bothers you.
Because it mirrors something you haven't accepted in yourself yet. Jung called this the shadow, the parts of us we hide, even from ourselves.
So the people who bother me most are actually my teachers?
In a strange way, yes. Not because they are right about you, but because of the reaction they create in you. That reaction is information about you. And the more you understand yourself, the less power other people have over you.
Because you understand where the reaction comes from.
Exactly. You see the trigger, you see the shadow, and instead of reacting, you pause and you ask, what is this telling me about myself?
That would take a lot of practice.
A lot of practice, but it changes everything. Because right now, most people live like this. Someone says something unkind, they feel terrible for days. Someone ignores them, they feel worthless. Someone disagrees, they feel attacked.
I've felt all of those things.
We all have. But Jung says that pain, that reaction, it's not about them. It's about an unhealed part of yourself, a part that never received enough love, enough validation, enough safety.
And we look for it from other people.
And we look for it from other people, from their approval, from their attention, from their words. But here is the truth. No one can give you what you haven't given yourself.
No one can give you what you haven't given yourself.
Safety, worth, acceptance, these things start inside, not outside. And when you start to give those things to yourself, something incredible happens.
What?
Other people's words lose their power. An insult lands and it slides off like water off glass because inside you already know who you are. You don't need them to confirm it.
That's real freedom.
That is real freedom. Not freedom from difficulty, not freedom from pain, but freedom from being controlled by it.
So the goal is not to stop feeling things.
Never stop feeling. Feeling is how we grow. The goal is to understand what you feel, where it comes from, what it's telling you, and then choose your response instead of just reacting.
Choose your response, not just react.
Jung said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is your freedom and your growth.
Between what happens and how I respond, there is a space, and I can choose what to do in that space.
That space is everything. That space is where character lives. That space is where real change happens. Not in good moments, in that tiny space between hurt and response.
I want to live in that space more.
We all do. And the more you practice, the bigger that space becomes. The more time you have, the more clearly you see, the more freely you choose.
And the less other people can shake you.
And the less other people can shake you, because you know who you are. And that no one can take from you.
Vocabulary. First, reflection. A reflection is what you see in a mirror, but also it means something that shows or represents something else. Other people's behavior is sometimes a reflection of our own hidden feelings. Use it to learn about yourself.
Next, shadow. In psychology, the shadow is the part of yourself you hide, you don't accept, you push down. Jung said, face your shadow. The parts you hide control you from the inside.
Next, trigger. A trigger is something that causes a strong reaction. It starts something. Notice what triggers you. That is information about where you still need to grow.
And stimulus. A stimulus is something that causes a reaction, something that happens to you. Between the stimulus and your response, there is a space. That space is your freedom.
Your challenge. Think of one person or situation that regularly bothers you. Instead of focusing on them, ask yourself one question. What does my reaction tell me about me? Write the answer down. Be honest, even if it's uncomfortable, especially if it's uncomfortable.
Because that's where the growth is, always in the uncomfortable places.
Section 6 is the last one, and it's going to bring everything together.
Don't miss it.
We have come a long way today.
We really have.
Let's go back to the beginning. A person, New Year's Day, notebook in hand, writing goals. This year will be different.
And then nothing changes.
And then nothing changes. We started there, and now let's understand why and what to do instead. The person with the notebook had goals, but no system.
What's the difference again?
A goal is where you want to go. A system is how you get there, every day, step by step. Think of it like a GPS. The goal is the destination. You type it in. But the GPS doesn't just tell you the destination. It tells you, turn here, go straight. In 200 meters, turn left. Every small step, in real time. That is the system.
And most people only set the destination. They never build the GPS.
They never build the GPS. And then they wonder why they keep getting lost.
So today, we build the GPS.
Today, we build the GPS, and we've already learned everything we need. Step 1, write the goal. Read it every day. Train your RAS to look for it, to find opportunities, to notice what was always there.
The brain finds what it is looking for.
Always. Step 2, burn the boat. Make a real commitment. Set a deadline. Tell someone. Remove the exit door. Because when there's no plan B, your brain finds a way to make plan A work.
Plan A becomes the only option.
The only option. Step 3, stop waiting for motivation. Build a routine instead. Simple, specific, same. Every day. Because repetition creates motivation, not the other way around.
Start first. Feel motivated after.
Always. Step 4, give yourself 90 days. Disappear into your work. Protect your attention. Clean your environment. Track every day. Let the engine warm up. Don't stop before it does.
And step 5, know yourself. Use the mirror principle. When something outside bothers you, look inside. Grow in that space between reaction and response.
Between reaction and response. That space is where you design your life, not just your goals, your actual life.
When I hear all 5, it sounds like a lot.
It can sound like a lot, but here's the truth. You don't need to do all 5 perfectly. You don't need to start all 5 today. You just need to start with one step, one small decision, one honest moment with yourself.
And then the next step becomes visible.
And then the next step becomes visible, because that's how systems work. You can't see all the steps from the beginning. You can only see the next one, and that's enough.
That's actually relieving.
It should be. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take the next honest step and trust that the system will show you the rest.
You know what I keep thinking about?
What?
All the people who have everything figured out on paper. The perfect plan, the perfect goals, the perfect system, but they never start.
Because starting means it becomes real. And when something is real, it can fail. And failure is scary.
So people stay in the planning stage forever, where it's safe, where nothing can go wrong.
Where nothing can go right either.
Where nothing can go right either.
Imperfect action always beats perfect inaction. The person who starts messy, who shows up badly, who makes mistakes openly, that person is growing every single day, while the perfect planner is still planning.
Still waiting for the right moment.
The right moment is always now. Not perfect, not ready, just now.
Before we finish, I want to say something.
Go ahead.
If you are listening to this and you feel stuck, and you feel like nothing you try works, and you feel like maybe you're just not the kind of person who succeeds at things,
I want to tell you something important.
You are not stuck because you are broken.
You are stuck because you haven't found the right system yet. That's all. And a system can be built by anyone, including you.
Including you listening right now.
Your brain is not your enemy. Your past is not your prison. Your goals are not too big. You just need the right steps, in the right order, every day. And you have those steps now.
You have those steps now.
So what are you gonna do with them?
That's the question.
That's always the question, and only you can answer it. Only you can take the first step. Only you can write day one. Only you can burn the boat. Only you can start.
So start.
Start. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when everything is perfect.
Now.
Now.
Let's recap everything from today. Section 1, write your goal. Read it every day. Train your brain to find it.
Section 2, burn the boat. Make a real commitment. Remove the exit door.
Section 3, stop waiting for motivation. Build a routine. Repetition creates motivation.
Section 4, give yourself 90 days. Disappear, focus, track. Let the engine warm up.
Section 5, use the mirror principle. When others bother you, look inside. That's where the growth is.
And Section 6, build the GPS. Not just the destination, the daily steps, the system, the commitment to show up every day.
This is English Profiles Podcast. Thank you for being here today.
And if this episode helped you, share it with one person who needs it, one friend who is stuck, one family member who keeps rewriting their goals.
Write in the comments which section hit you hardest today. What is your boat that you are going to burn? We really want to know.
We read every comment, every single one.
And remember, your goals are not failing you. Your system is. And today, that changes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Take care of yourselves and go build something real.